Hi guys, and welcome back to the channel after a long hiatus. All I can say is the reason to that is Australian housing crisis. Moving on, I purchased an Anycubic M3 Max a while ago, and I faced two major issues. One being this, and the second being that since I had to move my printer into an outdoor shed, it's winter here, and resin doesn't like cold. So after a lot of back and forth with the Anycubic support, they basically just said, nah bruh, she's all good. So I decided to take matters into my own hands, and I reached out to a local CNC shop, and after a quick chat, I dropped off my build plate and perforated it, which solved the resin crunch. The reason being is that the build plate on the M3 Max is so big and drops down so fast for the homing process that the resin in the vat doesn't have time to move out from under it, and it gets stuck, crunching it into the screen. But yeah, that's fine, Anycubic. That's beautiful. It happens more when your resin is cold, because when resin is cold, it's thicker. So after perforating my plate, I had zero issues with the crunching, but I got that done back when it was a bit warmer. The second issue is quite a lot easier to remedy, and I'm going to show you how with the help of my good friends over at Thermal Vat Band. Now this bloke, he's one of the smartest people I've ever spoken to, and has a background in chemical engineering. As he was explaining things to me, I felt like a caveman in comparison. So what he did is he sent me out a Thermal Vat Band. Now he did send this out for free, but I have my own opinions in this video. If it's crap, I can say it's crap. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. But from what he explained to me, there are several key benefits to a thermal vat band over those little heaters that you see on Amazon. One of them being power consumption. I mean, this is 5 watts for starters. So it costs literally a cent a day to run. But another thing is if you have those heaters that are in your chamber, well, that's heating everything. And while yes, heating the actual build plate, that's good. But heating the print that's on the build plate, I've heard that's bad. I can't find the reason again, but I've heard that's bad. And also those other heaters, they're heating everything. They're heating the screen, they're heating all the mechanisms, everything. So this just heats the resin, does it cheaply, and does it quickly. So let's have a look at what he sent out. Just let me move my vat out the way. Try not to dox myself because no one wants to know my address. So we've got a nice little sticker to go over it. We have the band itself. We have the magnetic power adapter. So that's really cool. One of the first issues they had with the thermal vat bands were people complaining that you have to actually unplug the connector to take it off. Well, this one's now magnetic, so much better. Oh, and he sent me some goodies. What did he send me? He sent me some resin paste, so that's to repair holes, cracks, and chips. This stuff is fantastic. I've actually used this before. Oh, he sent me a big ass vat scraper. And of course, an Australian power adapter because Australia has weird plugs, apparently. And I'm assuming this is the power brick. So let's have a look-see. Yeah, so this is your power brick right here. So you've got a temperature power control on it. So from off to goddamn. So that's good. Oh, nice click. Anyway, now, one thing I had a thought about was when you have this on and you empty your resin vat, you might get, residual resin on it and make it delaminate and yada yada yada. So I actually went out and I just bought some aluminum tape, or aluminium, however you want me to say it, which I'm actually pretty sure might be the perfect height. Fantastic. Let's have a look. I mean, you can't really get much better than that. I hope to God you can actually see that. Yes, you can. Good. So you can't complain. We're just guesstimating. So we'll get that. First thing you want to do is, if your tank or if your resin vat is not brand new, never had resin in it, you want to stick on some gloves. Because gloves are good. Now, when working with resin, you should always wear the correct PPE, but a lot of people don't. Gloves for me, and I use a little face masky shield thing when I'm taking supports off so I don't get bits of resin in my face. Alrighty. So, first thing you want to do is remove any dust from your vat for starters. I just pull it across. Same thing. You want to get some paper towel or shop cloth, whatever you really use, some isopropyl alcohol, you just want to give the sides of the vat a good clean. Mine should be clean anyway because I did this when I drained the resin, but you always want to make sure it's nice and clean, nice and squeaky. Wow, there's so much crap on my table apparently. Alright, so now we have a nice clean vat. Well, metaphorically speaking, on the outside is clean anyway. Gonna give it a little dry, even though isopropyl alcohol dries very quickly. You can never be too careful. Alrighty, so we now have a nice clean dry vat. You want to take your thermal vat band, now this one was made specifically for the M3 Max. You can see that's a little magnetic clip there. This is where my resin feeder goes, so I know that I've got a hole right here at the back. So this I'm going to put like here, maybe actually a little bit further up, just not to interfere with the screws. You don't want it to interfere with the screws, so I might even put mine behind like this. And just making sure that everything's to length, everything's all good. Yeah, it's close enough. So now we have to peel and stick. And that's going to be the fun part. I'll have my vat up like this, I reckon. Prop it up with a piece of tape, like so. And it has a 3M peel on the back of it. And I don't have nails at the best of time. Oh, eh. Oh, come on. Ah. Now you don't want to peel the entire thing off at once, because if you do, you're going to have a bad time. So I'm going to put mine right about there, I'd say. That looks pretty straight to me. That looks pretty dang straight to me. I do say so myself. Beautiful. I'm going to make sure you got some nice contact. Then you flip it up the other way. Hopefully you can still see this. take off the tape. Oh god, that sticks real well. Hopefully I don't damage it doing this. Not good. Alright. Now we don't want to go under this line, which I did a little bit, so up like that. Beautiful. Make sure it's all nice and pressed down on the edges. Now, I'm not sure whether to go in this or over this, so I am just going to go in just to make sure. It's not going to be perfect because I'm not perfect. No one's perfect. Well, there might be some people who are perfect. If you're watching Thermal Vat Band and I'm doing it wrong, please leave a comment. No, this one doesn't want to go in properly, so just like that. We have now installed the Thermal Vat Band. Now, with the resin being what it is, like I said, it's always good to protect your latest and greatest things. So you get some of your aluminium tape, because that's how you actually pronounce it. Oh, what the hell has happened here? My aluminium tape's broken, bruh. There we go. Now, I'm going to cut off that section that I've just screwed up. Alrighty. So we got some of the aluminium tape. And again, we want to make sure that we do not go under the actual side of the vat here. We want to see how we're doing. See, so this tape's actually a little bit too thick. So I'm going to grab a pair of scissors and I'm going to fix that up. Actually, no I'm not. Because all I'm going to do, just to protect the connector and to protect everything else, take this off like so. It's just going over this corner here. This is where you'll be most likely to have a resin spill. You don't want it spilling on the connector right across here. So I might even put just a little bit more across here, which I'll take off of here. Now, this isn't going to look pretty, but it's going to bloody work, and that's the main thing. If it's dodgy and it works, is it truly dodgy? There we go. Now that's going to protect everything. And there we have it. One thermal vat band. Now, it's actually nice and beautifully sunny outside today. So I will be recording the rest of this video either tonight when it cools down or another night when it is not a nice, 17 degrees Celsius, this many freedom units outside. I actually got to show you one more thing, just how magnetic this damn thing is. So I'll hold it like this. That's pretty damn magnetic. Okay, so I've had to go hand cam for this one because I've got a car here and I'm out in a shed. So, you know, there's a nice little old print that I've been meaning to paint up. But I digress. Right, so now I'm going to use the hyper technical method of a thermometer. Bink. Okay, so right now my resin is 22.7 degrees. The thermal vat band, however, is up at 27 degrees. Now I've got it set to 2. So if we just go around and crank that up to, let's say, just past 5. Again, sorry for the hand cam. Then that should increase the temperature. Now, one thing, do not YOLO the placement of the thermal vat band like I did. I am the luckiest person alive apparently because mine only just fits. So if you look down, get a nice little zoom in, it is literally just under the stop. So don't do that. Maybe move it a little bit over. Don't just YOLO it like I did. Alright, so I've turned that up. Now let's have a look to see if the band has increased in temperature. Oh yes. 35.6. So what I'll do is I'll check back in a little bit and let everything heat up. One thing that the bloke from Thermal Vat Band said to me is you always want to submerge your plate. So then that heats up as well, because that's a big solid chunk of metal. If that's cold, so if it's sitting up here, and then you plunge it into warm resin, well, it's going to act like a heat sink. It's going to suck all the heat out of the resin anyway. So you want to warm up your plate and see what happens. I mean, let's just see if my resin has increased in temperature since I've been talking for 2 minutes and 43 seconds. So my resin's already gone up 1.2 degrees. So that's good. So we'll check back in a little bit and we'll see what the temperature of everything is. It is currently 9 degrees outside. That's Celsius, not freedom units. And we'll come into the shed. Mind the noise. Yeah, I can already tell that that resin looks much thinner, like, well, it looks more like water. So let's take this off. And let's have a test. Alrighty, so the band is 36.4 and the resin is about 27 degrees. This one you're supposed to actually, you know, but I'm not going to. So we'll do a print and see what happens, because it is warm to the touch. It is very nice. Let's start up a print and see what happens. Okay, so this print's got 4 hours on it. That just sounds weird. But no crunching, which is good because this is quite a thick resin as well. It's the ABS. Oh, just put my thumb in it. It is the ABS-like Resin Pro 2. That's what I like to print with. That is the same thing that the Dragon Ball Z one is printed in. And I'll show you on the Dragon Ball Z. It's the same resin, just different color. There it is. Big, beautiful split. And these models were hollowed
and we still had a nice split in it. So hollowed with drainage holes, and it split because I think it was too cold in the shed. Yeah, look at all the crap I've got on my table. I love that noise. Now, something else that is really good with this perforated top is when it comes back out again in like 27 seconds, so I'll pause it after I'm done talking, you can actually see by the filled up holes if your first layer has adhered properly. So I'll pause this, and when it pops up I'll unpause it. See by the holes that didn't completely drain at the top here? That's how I know that layer is adhered. So now we're going to let this print run for the next 4 hours and 2 minutes, and we'll see what happens. Oh, one more thing. With this perforated plate that I've got now, in the M3 Max, you can actually turn off the exposure off compensate. You can turn off the exposure off compensate because you don't need to give the resin time to flow back in under the plate when you lift it up and down, because it flows back in through the holes. And now with the thermal vat band, which is a nice toasty, probably still 36 degrees, 36 degrees, the resin is even more liquidy, I guess. I'm not good with words. It's more fluid than usual, so that noise is great. Alrighty, so 4 hours and 27 minutes for the start of my Deadpool mask, and it's looking pretty damn good considering it is now 3 degrees Celsius outside. The vat is still nice and warm to touch. Don't have my thermometer, but it's looking good. Let's take these off the plate and have a proper inspection, shall we? Okay, I know it's not like a huge amount of detail to look at, but the print turned out to be pretty friggin' good. Like, there's a little mark there, but that was from improper cleaning. And I'm going to be curing these little fellas if I flip them over from the knot support side. They turned out quite nice also. So, pretty bloody good. Let's see if this layer gives us a nice suction sound. Love that sound.